Hi there, welcome to the latest of my more than 10-minute Moan live. And again, I've got Basil with me to try and help me muddle my way through this new thing because I'm now gone live. We're on three platforms. We're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube and X. And I don't have a clue if any it's working, but it should be. Well, I think I've hit the right buttons. And just like to say thanks very much to everybody who's tuned in. So anyway, we'll start off. Basil, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm a bit terrified. That opening was a bit intense, was it?
What's or the
the
music?
music, the music, and that's about Calais.
Uh,
Yeah. But other than that,
I've
mate, I'm all right.
I've used that video, the section of that video in probably four or five videos of since I went away. So if you've not seen it before, I'm a bit disappointed because it would mean you've not seen it.
No, I have seen it, but it's the flashbacks, mate. The flashbacks. It's taking me back there the first time. No, I tell you what though, it's interesting seeing it again, right? Because it is a cracking piece of footage just to see if you were there and witnessed all that. But
Mm.
it's just a striking image, isn't it? You see all these people, just like hordes of them, and you got to remember, this is not like Syria or something. This is France.
Mm.
It's just across the water. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And obviously,
Mm.
coming to a town near you. So.
Well, the other thing is, what really spooked me was they all want to come here. So,
Mhm.
because you're right, when I turned that corner the first time I came across this place, I was gobsmacked, and I felt it was like footage that you see from a civil war in Africa, where whole towns are just leaving and up and getting out of the place. Um, but then it sunk into me. They're all heading to one place, and that's the UK.
Mhm.
That was pretty bonkers. Um, but the trip, to be fair, the trip started the day before when I got it's been 24 hours in Dover. And what I seen there was just mental, absolutely mental. And um, but we're not getting the true figures. We're not getting the. When I stood back, I was standing up the hill with the people at County Folk coming in from the border force drop off at Dover. I was talking to them. I was like, so, your figures are quite accurate to the government figures. Will get released in a couple of days' time. They went, yeah, we're normally within like between 1 to 5 of a difference, if any. And they might be wrong. So, when they're like 992 coming a day and we've said 994, it's kind of close. And as you're
Yeah.
standing up there, there's three piers. There's a big pier with the P&O, there's an Irish company and I think a Norwegian company, just running ferries all day. That's out here on the left. And the centre pier is more a traditional harbour with the private boats. And at the end of it, the RNLI lifeboat post. And then there's this third pier that's hidden down in road level. You can't see it. So gated off. And that's where they bring in these people have picked up off the channel. But when I was talking to these people who have got infinitely more experience and knowledge than me on the topic, I said, well, 5 years ago, all we heard about was people stoning in those ferries over there. What's happened to that chat? Because nobody talks about that. And are they picking up everybody? And he said, no, there are some boats get through at night time and still land in beaches. So the government's official figures are only from one place, and that's the ones coming in the border force pier at Dover Harbour. So you land anywhere else, you come through the ferry or land on the beach, you're not any figures. So the figures that we're getting, and they're going, oh, it's record breaking numbers. Well, yeah, but that's only off one entry point. So, it's pretty bonkers. These are things that I didn't really consider or penny drop until I was actually there. And it's terrible. And then I put out a video, when the time this is live finished, let's put out a new video about stuff that I encountered on the ferry back. And I think I've actually just uncovered a bit of a scam that's going on the
Mhm.
boats. So we'll maybe cover that later on in this chat, and people
Yeah.
can go into that video once we're done. But crazy stuff, mate, crazy stuff. And then I went to Calais. Yeah, not the first boat, but one, like 7 o'clock boat or something the next morning. And it just got even madder. I didn't really know where I was going. I had no preconceived ideas of what I was going to do. And I just wanted to, go and see what I stumbled across. So the first thing I done was headed into the centre of Calais. And beautiful, beautiful place. There's this lovely canal runs through it. It's like a river, and they've through time they built the roads and stuff. So it's more like a canal than a river. And it breaks into two, and there's a bridge over here. So I was driving round it to just get to the town centre, and I saw 4 or 5 tents just bang in the middle of this city. It's bonkers. And then when I went back 24 hours later, I was going down to a hotel that GB News invited me on, and I had to get somewhere with good Wi-Fi. So I went down to the Holiday Inn down near the front. So I passed by this place again, and in the space of 24 hours, it went from 4 to probably just under 20 tents, like that quick. And I did speak to a few people, locals, but none of them were brave enough to go on camera, but they did talk to me, and they're like, it's just constant. And what you see one day will be different the next, and areas will be away, and then there'll be more people come, and they'll be over this side of the river and that side of the river. And it's just pretty mental, mate. Pretty mental. But the maddest thing was definitely that stuff out in the countryside where I thought I'd enough footage for my day's work, and I was heading up to a place just between, you've got Calais, and you've got a place called, spelt Gravelines, but I think it's Gravelines or something it's called. And then you hit Dunkirk, and I was sort of staying in a hotel between Gravelines and Dunkirk. So I was just heading up there, and I just saw, I saw folk walking down this street. I was like, oh, activity. And then I just got out my left, this big massive field with whatever it was, bait barley or whatever, up to about waist height, and all these guys walking through it. I thought, where are they all going? So I done it. I was on the dual carriageway, and I done a U-turn. And I came back. As I cut back off the dual carriageway, the road turned to the right. And this thing just appeared in front of me with all these people. And I sent you the video within about 10 minutes. I was like, Basil, you see what I've just found? And the first thing as I came round the bend, because it was a right-hand bend, I saw the people on the left. And that was a bit frightening. It was just all these guys, and there was big water tankers, and they were helping themselves. And then I was videoing that, and I had the phone mounted in my windscreen. I was turning it to the left and looking and driving at the same time. And then I just caught on my right-hand side about 3 or 4 times more people just hanging about. Seemed to be some charity workers giving them what, I don't know. But that vision will just never leave me. It was just mental. And then I thought, well, there's no tents here. So where do these people live? So I just started doing a sort of spiral, maybe about a mile up to about a mile radius of this camp. And every corner I turned, there was more people coming and going. And I would find, like, and just in the bushes, maybe 5 to 10 tents and, tarpaulin, makeshift stuff. So this is just mental. So I'd done that for about an hour. And that's the footage you saw in the intro. And then when I went back to the hotel, or went to the hotel to check in, got my laptop out and I started editing it. And it was the most surreal thing in the world, because I was watching this footage as if I'd seen it for the first time. There's stuff you see, obviously you're driving, picking up everything that you're recording. And I was sitting with my laptop out, and I put all the footage in my laptop and I started to edit it. And it was just as if I was watching somebody else's work, and I was getting all shocked again. And what I put out in the first night's video, I think there was about 5 or 6 minutes of a 20, 30-minute video that was just that stuff that you've just seen with the people walking about.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about it, each clip's maybe 5-10 seconds long. There was 6 minutes of it there. And that wasn't it at all. There was stuff that I just never put out because it was like quite repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
I think people get the gist of it after 6 minutes of it. It was just like, I didn't know how much I recorded. And it was every time I turned another corner, there was something else mad happening.
I said before, it looked like something out of a zombie film, or like, after a music festival or something where you just see like thousands and thousands of people just swarming areas. They weren't like walking down the roadway, they were just like over the fields and stuff, just like all just swarming. And it was, I can't imagine what it must be like. It must be crap living there. Honestly, it must be terrible living around that area where you think about like the migrants you've got in the hotels and stuff like that around the UK. They've just got like just masses of them just piling into their area. You know what I mean? It must be absolutely awful. What I can't believe is that the police have it under control in any way. I find that so difficult to believe because the crime rates you'd think would skyrocket and all the rest of it. But I don't know. Did you manage to speak to anyone down there and ask them about that?
Yeah, there was this lovely wee place, right? See where that site is?
Mm-hmm.
It's to the south of Dunkirk, and Dunkirk port is huge, right? When I was starting to drive around, I was getting a handle for the place. There's a lot of like, energy and oil and produce. So it's like a massive industrial estate, right? It's just like massive plants. There's oil, gas, everything, right? And obviously feeding into the boats to go wherever they go in the world, right? So I mean, there's miles of it, and these people are sort of in the middle of this. So it's a fair walk to get to any sort of towns. But there's a wee town, what's the name of it? Man, wish I had the map as I looked at it. It's, as I was driving away for it the first time, and I thought, I'll just drive all the way down to the port just to see where, if there's anything else. There's this wee oasis of a village just appears on your left, right? It's like a wee hamlet. I mean, it's not even got a shop or a cafe. It's got nothing. It's just these beautiful and really nice houses. And right in the middle of it, there's a little play park. And there was a sort of multi-sport court. And there was four boys playing at football. They were probably late teens, early 20s. And I thought, this must be better than living here. So I stopped off. I went out. Do you speak English? I Scotland spoke very good English. Better than me. And I thought, that's my microphone. Maybe this will be better. And I was saying to him, look, this is going on up here. I mean, it was like a mile and a half from them. I says, it must be terrible living here. And he went, well, to be fair, they don't come into the town. He says, I think they used to. What a story I was getting was they used to get into towns and they would maybe be bother. So the police would then need to go and react to the camps, whereas if they don't cause any bother, they kind of leave them to their own devices.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did say is a boy clocked my car and they went, excuse me, I really like your car. Don't stop with that because they'll think you've got piles of cash in your pocket. And so we don't use them and they don't come near us.
Right.
But the people in Calais, because they were like, in the city centre, they're like, it's really uncomfortable. I saw a guy, I've had it in film, but I decided not to use it because the guy had a kid with him and he was at a bus stop and it was these two hassling him for a cigarette. And I thought it might kick off. So I stopped my car in case it kicked off and I went and helped the guy. He was just there with a young kid. You think, you don't need that. So even, there might not be crime as such, but that's just can't be pleasant having that on your doorstep. And by the way, listen, the people that are there, I'm sure they're not all criminals. Unfortunately, I think a few of them are. And you see these temporary detention things and you go, that's a bit of a shit way to live as well. But for every one of them that gets into your country, see proper asylum seekers who have ran for their life and sitting in a refugee camp somewhere in Africa, like young Baraka that I've interviewed in the podcast, who spent the first 14 years of his life in one.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person that gets across that channel leaves a kid like Baraka for longer in a refugee camp who are proper refugees. So I can never forget that. I'm not saying that these people are all bad, but what they're doing is evidently not good.
I'll call most of them bad, and I'll tell you why. Because the vast majority of them do not come from war zones, right? The vast majority of them don't. And that's provable by the data we have on them in the Home Office. And also the extreme majority. I mean, you're talking, and I asked you about that. How many women and children you saw? Hardly any. It's all blokes. These are not people coming from war zones. The left and the charities and all the rest of it completely just lie through their back teeth, right? If you see it doesn't look like any war zone you've ever seen. Like, we know Ukraine's a war zone, and guess who came over from Ukraine? Vast majority of them were women and children, right? Yeah. And the men were forced to stay, right? I'm not here to debate the politics of that fight. I'm just saying it is a war zone, right? If you look at these guys, right, they're men through and through. And so you sit there and think, how are people justifying this? I mean, I watch Question Time every week. Yeah, I'm that kind of nerdy loser, right, who watches Question Time, right? And I watch it and I see these bloody idiots who stand up and will scream at the top of their voice, these people are desperate, these people have left the worst persecution and war zones. And you're like, are you watching your TV screens? Even bloody Ricky Gervais made a joke about this on his last stand-up tour. And the thing is, if a comedian makes a joke about it and people laugh, then they're telling you they know it's true. They know it's all guys. So this isn't about war. This is about economic migrants who have seen an open door, free for all, will give you things for free. There was a guy I posted about it the other day who was reporting from what he'd heard migrants saying as they step off the boat and they turn around, immediately one of them and said to him, "Where's my hotel?"
Yeah.
How does he even know that he's going to end up in a hotel? They all know about this. It all gets fed back to them. It's sickening beyond belief. And as you've said, it's a scam and a scheme. And there's people who make millions of pounds off this, who own hotels. And now soon it'll be landlords will get in on the action as well. They'll be getting everything paid for on the properties, and they'll have to live amongst our societies and communities. And you just ask yourself, what kind of psycho do you have to be to look at all of the data of the murders, the rapes, the abuse, the crime, everything that goes with it, you know, the cultural, and how much people in Britain do not like this, and yet they go, let's bring more over.
Yeah.
I can't explain it.
Just to clarify a few things just before we move on. I've got Kevin Robertson asking he's banned for what? You're no banned, mate. It's that other Kevin, that not there, right? He's banned. You'd never get banned with that. See that strip you've got on? You don't get banned. Rangers fans don't get banned off me, right? But the other Kev, he's not a Rangers fan. So he's a cheeky article. Anyway, what I was wanting to try tonight is something a bit new that I've not seen done on YouTube lives. If you go to the description, I don't know how to do it in the X, we're showing it in X and Facebook just now, but if you go to the YouTube channel, go to the description, there's a link there for StreamYard. And if you want to come on and ask your question, I would love you to do that. So click on that, you go in, type your name in, I'll see you down the bottom, we'll bring you up, get you to ask your question yourself, and hopefully get some good banter and some good chat. So it's something that I just wanted to try this out to see if it works, and if it does, something maybe we can use as a feature going forward. So there's Alex, brilliant to see Alex in it. Alec Kearney, Spartan, fantastic journalism, good effort, mate. People need to see the truth. I've seen it with my own eyes, it's wild. If you don't follow Alex, well, please do. His group, track down some nasty men doing some nasty things to their children, so please support them. Daisy, it was really good in the GB News. I really enjoyed it, Daisy. It was something that was unexpected. Some other people said it might happen, but I kind of was like, oh, well, it's just me and Daft chatting on a video, but it was a good experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Martin Dubry was Dobry, terrible. Was great with me and very complimentary, and I've spoken to him since. So hopefully that'll be the last. We see. So, Eddie, you want to ask me, Basil? That there's somebody coming up. Hold on a wee second. Hold that thought, Basil. So we've got Ian. Hold on a minute. Ian's going to take the comments off because it's kind of blocking you out. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Oh, that's great. I love your videos that you're doing. I'm perplexed because I'm kind of divided, because I'm a Christian and I would love to see people living at peace and all that, and you know, I believe that we have to be peacemakers, but at the same time I just can't see past the inevitability of a civil war happening in the UK, because it seems like the government across the board, in Scotland especially, Craig, as you know, they're saying welcome them all up to Scotland. Their cultural identity is basically being ripped apart. Do you know what I mean? Scottish people, when I grew up in Glasgow, Craig, I'm 40, mate. When I grew up in Glasgow, I grew up in a scheming Maryhill, mate, right? Working class guy. There's all Celtic and Rangers fans that live there now. Now it's unrecognisable. And if you dare say anything like this, you get deemed as being racist. And I don't see how that's racist. I've got French or Pakistanis. I go down locally to my kebab shop and I'm parley with the guys in there. Do you know what I mean? And I don't see how it's not going to end up with a civil war, a complete conflict like happened in Northern Ireland across the UK, because nobody seems to be listening to us.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at as well, Ian. I've now been across the water. I've been in Glasgow talking about this. I've been to Ballymena. I've been to London, spoke to people about this. And I think the biggest problem I've got is it's the same concerns over and over and over, where there's too many people, there's no handle on immigration. We've been promised for 28 years by every government that they'll reduce immigration. We've got knife crime, we've got fears for the safety of our females and our young people. And that tends to be all over Britain. So, although I hope it doesn't lead to violence, it kind of could. Because if people have faith in the government that listen to them and even if they think we're trying to solve problems but we're not quite there yet, people are understanding. You know, we're normal minded. But
I just think, Craig, I think I was looking back, right, and I was watching the telly about 2 years ago, and I was watching CBN. It's the news from a Christian broadcast. I was reading my Bible, and it says in Matthew 24, verse 7, that nation will go to war against nation. And I thought, this has been happening for years. And then I read it again, and it talked about how all these things would happen at the same time, how there'd be pandemics and stuff like that. Now, so I got an article, Craig, put in the Heart Christian newspaper. It's a local newspaper in the UK. And what churches get, the Tron Church in Glasgow gets it in Bath Street, and a couple of people seen it and they sent me texts, and they goes, Ian, I think you're on the money. Now, Craig, let me share this with you. What's happened since then, Craig? And you know, because me and you were there. In Glasgow, we had to force a first minister out of power in Edinburgh for a hate crime law. We've had riots in Ballymena. It's still kicking off in Northern Ireland. We've had the Southport riots. I mean, what more must happen? Sadly, this stuff is happening. I mean, I don't want to see violence, but this stuff is happening. What more has to happen before the government will wake up? I do believe the UK is going to shift to the right in some sense, eventually, with the forum. But a bit like yourself, I'm more leaning towards the SDP and UKIP because I think they're more serious about tackling these things. But what is it going to take before the government will take action? We're seeing all these things happening. And I think it's a powder keg in Glasgow. It'll kick off at some point. Glasgow's notorious for protests.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just scared. I don't. I think you've got to find that line between the public letting those in charge of the establishment know that we're serious and we've got problems. Without, as soon as it goes over that, the toes go over that line, you know what's going to happen? It'll be far right, racist, bigots, all that stuff that we just get flung at us. But when I was in Ballymena, that was kind of the feeling I was getting from people there. It's stop talking to them like this. You need to start listening, and look what's happened over there. You know, and as you rightly said, it's then extended to other parts of Northern Ireland, and that's my big fear. If politicians and those in charge of it feels that they're no listening, then we kind of it's going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. So, anything else, Ian, or any questions you want to ask about the trip, or?
Yeah, see when you were over in Calais, Craig, and you were doing those videos, just one last thing. See when you were seeing all these people coming over, can you clarify one thing, right? So that people that tune into this video after it's been live, and even those that are tuning in now, and other people that might tune in, because this is going to go global, this is going to be all over the world, this. Right, how many people realistically, Craig, were on that boat that weren't young working class men? Was there any women or kids at all?
Are you talking about the boats when I was at Dover watching them land?
Yes, and all these people that you've seen in the roads and that. I watched
Right.
your video on
Yeah.
all the roads and all the other stuff
Yeah.
you've seen.
Well,
How many of them, realistically, Craig, were women
aye.
and
There
young
was
people?
out of there was 4 boats that arrived before 2 o'clock, and that's when I left the sort of anti-site. I went away to get something to eat. I was done in, right. I drove down the night before. I had like 2 hours sleep, so I was there from about 7:30 to just after about 10 o'clock, I'd say. And I physically saw 2 boats coming in, and they were getting counted by the observers. And in the first 2 boats, I think there was 3 or 4 women and children, and there was 150 people that came in. So I'll give you the percentages. Now, I couldn't count the amount of people that I saw in my videos in total. But the day I went to Calais and I discovered that place, I guess 4, maybe 5 women, and I think two kids. So it's not all guys, but it's 90%.
Where are they coming from, Craig? Are they all coming mainly from Islamic countries? Because we
Well,
know that Islam's got a caliphate. They want to take over the world. Are they all
yeah,
Islamic, or is there some other
no,
religions?
no, the vast majority, a lot of the African countries now are Islamic countries, and they tend to be the ones I've seen, the majority. Now, you can go to a different part of the coast because, as you've seen in the video, the copper had told me there's like
Mhm.
50 miles worth of stretch where there'll be camps all over that. So different camps will be predominantly from different peoples. And when they don't, they're not for different peoples, they end up in bother. And I saw a fight in the street at a bus stop between an African guy and a guy that looked something maybe Albanian type thing. So they're just the ones I was at was predominantly, but not solely. It looked as if it was East Africans. With a smothering of maybe Albanians and Eastern Europeans. Aye.
And you know,
But
if me and you were in their country, we would never get the treatment that they get over here. We'd be killed.
no, you wouldn't expect it either. You wouldn't expect it either. But listen, mate, I'm really glad you came up because I was just wanting to do it. I've been thinking about this the last couple of lives. How can we get more interaction? How can we get the people that are watching involved? So thanks for being the first and brave enough to do so. And if anybody else fancies, please do. I love it. Just go into the description on YouTube and you'll see the link. Click it, come in, get your questions to your piece. So, you anything else?
No, Craig, I'll just head off now and let other people get in, mate, but I'll continue to watch on.
Appreciate that, mate, and thanks very much for coming up. It was most
All right.
enjoyable. And you are the first, nobody can ever take that away.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. Thanks
Cheers. Thank you.
very much, mate. Brilliant. Basil, anything else to add to that before I maybe start looking at the questions that are on the
I think I think it's interesting to hear from other people's perspectives on the videos. I was just going to ask you, by the way, do you know when you came back? Have you thought yourself maybe like, 'cause by the sounds of it, you know, there's so much to cover over there. Have you thought about maybe going back?
100%. Aye, I'll need to go back. I'll tell you why. I kind of the last part of my journey, I thought I'd finished. I went onto the boat. It's late at night. It's about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock before. I think it was 11 o'clock on the ride, but there's an hour time difference, so say it was 10:30, something in the boat, leaving. And it was bizarre. I'm sort of winding down and, trying to get my head back to normal, and I'm thinking, right, I'll get on the boat, check how the videos are doing, I'll do a wee bit of maybe editing work or whatever. The Wi-Fi's great in the boats, to be fair, and there's really proper nice boat, and plenty of points to charge your stuff. So I sat down before the boat took off, and it was in the sea before I realised it's actually an electric boat. You can't even hear it. It was so smooth. And it was the gaming machines. You're not allowed the gaming machines on while they're at port. So I heard the gaming machine going, oh, Christ, I've moved. And I looked about, back to work. Somebody had phoned me, and I looked about me, and I was in an area. There was 17 people in this area, and there was 3 British people. And I thought, oh, that's bloody weird. And I was talking to somebody on WhatsApp messages. Mate, that's a bit mental, because in the way out, it was probably, as you'd imagine, 80% of the folk there appeared British, going over for a holiday, whatever. Maybe 20% foreign. And I thought, hold on a minute. See, when I was at, they check your passport while you're in the car. So when you get there, there's one route for the HGVs to go, there's one route for the buses, and there's one route for everybody else. And as I pulled up to the everybody else bit, there was 2 lines open. There was 2 transit-sized vans sitting in front of me, a Sprinter, I think, one, and a Peugeot, the other one. And then in the queue next to me, there was 4 vehicles. 3 of them vans as well. Another one, a beautiful blue Ford Mustang. Stunning car. So I was sitting admiring this guy's car, and I was near rush. I was well early for the departure time. And I just thought, they were taking ages with these 2 vans in front of me. I thought, man, the right bloody queue. So I had to be looking at this is the right queue. I thought, that's weird. So never thought anything of it. Got on the boat. Halfway through the journey, realised I was in this area where there was not a lot of British people. And then I walked round the whole deck, which was bars and food areas, a shop, and whatever. And I started counting, taking notes. So there were like 17, 18 people in this area, 5 British. There was a few that you couldn't tell, so I would got them be an earshot and hear what language they were talking. So I'm quite happy to accept that my figures were kind of accurate. So then I get back to my seat and I thought, that's bonkers, because it's like 80% non-British people. But if we all take the turn travel, then you should have the same sort of mix regardless of what day you're travelling. There'll be slight oddities, but nothing as mental a swing as that. And I thought, well, hold on a minute, what's with all the vans? So you're not allowed in the car deck until the boats are in the harbour. So I went to the staircase so I could be first down, and I went and I made a video, and I put a video out tonight. It's actually live on YouTube now. And I counted the vans. There was almost 2/3 of the car deck was not cars, it was vans. Every single one of the vans, bar one, was not British plates. They're all across Europe. There was only one van out of all the vans that had any sort of livery on it. The rest of them were just no business or anything.
Mm-hmm.
There was 5 or 6 of them had trailers, right? And out of the 5 or 6, there was 2 trailers that were not covered. There was nothing in the trailers. You're like, who goes on holiday, one with a van? That'll not be a big amount of people. There will be some people going holiday with vans, but I would imagine the minority of people going holiday with vans, right? But who goes on holiday with a van with an empty trailer? You would kind of leave it in the house. That is, if your plan was to go back to your house.
Mm-hmm.
So where my head is now, I'm thinking, is this? Because these were mainly like European, the majority of them sort of European-looking people, Albanians, whatever. So it's that they're doing now. Are they coming in saying, I'm coming on holiday, but just don't go back?
Yeah.
I was sitting just about to come off the boat. I'm looking and I thought, this was on the Thursday night going into Friday. And I thought, how many of them will be in the black market, work-wise here, by Monday morning, doing whatever they do with their vans and their trailers? So it was mental, mate. So that's kind of, I'm now, what my head's like. I keep going, right, there's something else I need to get into. And I kind of need to figure this one out now. So I will need to go back. If nothing, just to see if I went back and the return ferry was just normal as you would expect, and the same sort of cross section of people that were coming out, I'd be happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a kind of funny feeling that it won't be.
Mad. Fucking mad.
Craig's asked, what do you think would happen if you sent your footage to Nigel Farage that you got? Well, nothing. I'm perfectly honest with you. And he knows all the information, because I don't want to get into too much detail, but people that I met on my journey do know him, and he's well aware of what's going on. So he could have done what I've done. He can tell you all these stuff, because he's known these for a long time. And they all have, every single last one of them. There's nothing that I've found out that our MPs and our establishment don't know. Now, if my theory about this boat on the way back is true, well, our border forces and everybody that works in that industry will know that as well. Why do I need to be the person that calls it out? And I'm perfectly willing to accept that I might be totally wrong. I might have just been a totally oddball journey where it was a totally different demographic for some bizarre reason than in any other normal boat. But because of that, I can't let it lie. So I need to get some money together, because I spent a few quid and go and do that again. And I will do it again, because it's shocking. And if I can learn 2 or 3 things every, good shout, I tell you, if I could learn a couple of things every trip, I do 3 or 4 trips a year, I'll do 3 or 4 trips a year, whatever it takes.
Sorry, did Tilly just say we should retake Calais?
Aye.
All for it, Tilly. All for it. Make it happen. Yeah. It's awful. And, when you look at, the state of Europe as a whole, I guess it's talk about Europe, isn't it? It's depressing, like I say, that the people at the top, I don't know if they believe that these people are genuine refugees. They can't do. They must know it's just rubbish. And yet they keep this up and just keep feeding the population crap and say that it needs to go on. It terrifies me, to be honest with you. I genuinely sit there and think, what goes through the heads of likes of, John Sweeney and Keir Starmer and stuff when they get up every day and say, refugees are welcome here and stuff like that. And you just think, are you for real? Honestly, I've never known a set of politicians more. They're either complete and utter liars or completely and utterly stupid, or both. And it's not just our politicians that's across the whole of Europe. So many in countries just sat there going, yeah, we'll just carry on, Who cares if the country falls apart? Who cares? It's depressing. Very, very depressing indeed. You mentioned obviously going back there to Calais then, and you said about this scam that you've seen with the trucks and the vans and stuff like that.
I think I need to say a potential scam at that point. Yeah. It's just a bit bizarre.
Aye. Well, aye. So, to me, yeah, okay. It sounds like a scam to me. All right, I'll say I think it's a scam, right? But I was just going to ask, have you thought about going to see the Care for Calais people? Because they're in Britain, by the way. You can visit them and just ask them, what is the goal here? you know.
Yeah.
And what are you, you know, I'd be interested to know, because
Yeah.
there's got to be some people who've joined Care for Calais and went, hang on, these people aren't
Yeah.
refugees.
Well, listen, I think you spoke to me a lot before I went out and while I was away, and I kind of intentionally, I didn't want to go out with any preconceived plans of what I wanted to see. I just wanted to go and kind of catch a moment. But now that I've been, yeah, I think there was a quite a well-known political party in France that went into their office, told them who I was, and they were keen to do something for me, but the head guy was at their parliament all week. So, if I had more, I mean, I basically just turned up in their office and went, hi, I'm a podcaster and I'm the leader of the SDP in Scotland. Can I get another one of your MPs to interview them? And they were like, who are you? Right. So it's quite, anyway, the girl that was dealing with was lovely, and she texted me and she was emailing me through the 2 days that I was there. And they said, look, best of luck, what you're trying to achieve. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like the regional leader. He's down at Parliament all week. I would be delighted to meet you. So, things like that, things like the Care for Calais people, going and speaking to them, that I've had the mad head melting wow factor. And if I'd done it again, I would be more direct in what I'm want to do. I would like to at night. It's a bit tricky though. A lot of the movements in the beaches are under the cover of darkness. So if I can get some more intel on that and just go and see it happening in front of me.
Yeah.
And the police chasing them up beaches and all that carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. You got plenty of comments in anyway.
Aye, well, I'm up to 21 minutes past 8, and the time is, so I'll get 20 minutes worth of no scrolled through. So I'm just
You're saying that from Kev.
Potters and celebration party blue stuff. The other Kev will understand why that Kev's bad to me.
Has Kev been on this yet, by the way?
He's been on. I know to talk, but we're going to do a live this week.
Oh, right, aye. I'll have to tune in for that.
So I'll be going back when I don't know. I'm going down south Friday this week. I'll probably be down south over the weekend. So this week's probably I need to get batteries recharged and I need to get the funds back up. I was going to go to Dublin this week. It's like, Craig, calm down, right? Just calm down.
You were going to go to Dublin?
Aye.
What's going on there?
It's just kicking off again. There's a big demo there today. Yesterday there was a big demo. I kind of would like to go there.
They've had it rough them as well in Dublin, because again, it's one of those cities where this is like untouched by mass migration, and then all of a sudden they've just boom, you know what I mean, dropped them all in there, and it's went like wow. And again, by the way, a lot of people who are, look, I shouldn't use the word traitors, I guess, but people who've just basically went, you need to shut up about this, and yeah, we know there's been a few rapes and stabbings and stuff. You need to all shut up for the sake of diversity. And you're just seeing the same thing that's been repeated in the UK. It's such a sad state of affairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some other people that go out there have also approached me as well, saying that the next time they're going to trip, I'll let you know, so that might happen. I've already mentioned it. There's an opportunity to go to Israel, which I would love to do, and that came off the back of the Ballymena video, where this group approached me and said, look, I'd love you to come out and do the same, just go in the street, talk to people. And I kind of think it gets me, there's plenty of news outlets that tell you how the sort of normal person in Gaza is, and cover the soldiers for Israel and the Prime Minister and all that stuff. I can't think of a single outlet that's just went in the streets in Tel Aviv and went, what's it like to live here? With all this chaos going on. Nobody sat here saying voices. So that's the sort of angle I would like to take. And what they did say to me is they would not try and just have one story, but get Arabs, Muslims, Christians, Jews that all live in Israel to talk to me and give me their stories. So kind of want to do that as well. So the video that I do obviously get monetized off YouTube. So when people watch the videos, it creates advertising revenue, which YouTube give me a part of that. So the trip's almost break even, but I kind of need to make it no break even, because obviously I wasn't doing any other work for a week while I was away. So Need to try and just get the funds up and then just use whatever excess I've got just to go and do more of that stuff, because it's honestly, see the stuff you learn just getting out there in the street in different areas. It's a bit. Don't I- my girlfriend just said to me, "Were you no scared?" Because it's just like I'm like 700 miles away from her in the country myself, right? And it's all this chaos going on about me. So she's obviously sitting here watching me put my videos out each night, going like, "You're no right hate, scared and stuff." Well, kinda, no, at the time, but see, looking back, I'm like, "You're not normal. I'm
But
definitely not normal."
why don't you put a poll on Twitter or something over a week and just pin it to your thing and say, where should I go next? And just put a few locations up.
No, because I would get folk like Kev putting Baghdad and stuff like that, right?
No, you pick a few locations and you put them up
Alright.
for choices, and then they pick, which one you want to go to, Dublin or Parkhead.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Aye, and I want to go back to Northern Ireland. I want to cover up that story again with, what's happened, what's moved to other areas. And Alan that I had on, when I remember with Alan that I interviewed in Ballymena, and then he came on and done a live with us. We kept in touch with him, and he was telling me they're doing a clever thing now. A lot of the protests are just women and children only.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not got that chance of just, using the negatives. So I thought that's a good idea. They were talking about that when I was out there, and they've kind of done that. And I phoned them the other night there. I was like, "How's a good lady?" She's like, "Oh, she's away with the grandkids. They're away to a protest." Right? That's like, "What, without you?" And he's like, "I know, they're starting to do women only ones, so it's kind of good." But what I'll do, listen, there's so many stuff coming in. I'm trying to put everybody's comments up so everybody gets a wee bit of thanks. And probably going to do another 10, 15 minutes. So kind of think I need to start looking at the questions that have popped in. And if anybody, while I'm doing that, wants to pop in, just go onto the YouTube description and click the join button. So I'm going to just bear with me. So that's 28. See if there's any more questions. I can click the questions and it sticks. Awesome. Thank you very much, Martin Hill. That's really appreciative. I think it's a headache as well. Kinda aye, but at least they know that they're going to bugger off soon. So I kind of get that.
Aye, but have you seen the footage of like Paris and stuff now, though?
No, I've not seen.
Oh, mate, it's like there's whole like underpasses. So like these used to just be where cars would go to like cut under the city centre and stuff, and they're just full now of migrants. Just like tent cities underneath the city of Paris. It's really scary. I mean, Paris itself, there are areas of it just like London, but the difference is that they haven't got houses, so they're just living in the streets. It's weird, really, really weird to see. And again, I can't imagine Parisians being comfortable with this, but apparently they keep voting for parties that bring it in.
Aye, that's kind of the only peaceful way we've got to sort this out is as a cracker, Shamrock Sean. Hey Craig, I watch your videos all the time. Love from Belfast. That's brilliant. That, I like that stuff. What people up, and there's people all over different areas that are just right into the stuff now. And folk like Transit, I think he's been in every. Hope I didn't see Transit on that ferry actually. But it's a wee community we're building here. A lot of the names are popping up. The support's just been incredible, So I'm just ticking all the questions down here. And Michael, another one that just sees his name all the time. Jenny, she's just off the cheeky. Alan, these people in every single video we put out, and it's just on. I'm up at 22. I'm 6 minutes behind now, real time. So I think I've caught most of the questions. Just let me. There's another question. I'm just flicking them into the start section. I don't know if can you see that at your end, Basil? Because I don't know what you can and can't see.
Sorry, the comments? Yeah, I can see comments.
Well, aye, but in this sort of management side, I can put a
star them. Yeah, I can see the star comments. Yeah, do you want me to read them out to you?
No, well, if you want to start, then I'll continue. Try to pick some. I don't want to miss anything. So do you want to start from the top one and just crack on?
Yeah. So the first one's from Robert Anderson. He says, as we pay millions to France to smash the gangs, apart from the police that you spoke to, was there any sign of other police, French border force, or anyone trying to stop this?
No, but I do believe they try to do that on the beach to some degree, and I never seen anybody on the beaches, so I didn't get any first-hand experience of that. Robert.
I can give you a little bit more on that, Robert. In the past, the last government agreed with France that they would pay them a load of money to stop the boats, and then what in return we would build, because I know the border is obviously the sea, right? But officially, the border for the UK is in Calais, right? We have a border zone there, right? And essentially, they said that we would build like some sort of compound there where we would process these migrants, right? These asylum seekers, as they get called. And the police apparently in France used the excuse of, well, you didn't even attempt to build something, so we're not going to stop them, right? So the Labour government now have said that we will build the thing there, and they've started that, and then the hope and the police will stop them. But the truth is the police still need them to go, because otherwise it's their problem. So until that thing gets built, they aren't going to stop them. The bad news is the thing that's getting built is so we can ferry them over ourselves. So unfortunately, the migrants are not going to stop. Whether the French police stop them or not, we've got to stop them. That's ultimately what's going to happen. Next question was from Joe Mack. What can be done about this situation, in your opinion?
Well, I just flashed up there. I'm a member of and the leader in Scotland in the SDP, and one of the main reasons for joining the SDP a year ago, over a year ago actually, was their policies and the policies on migration in particular, and our armed forces, what we do with them when they stop being armed forces to look after them better. That was the sort of two big things for me. But it's put people off coming here by doing two things. One, if you come here illegally, we'll send you to Ascension Islands, which is a bit like the Rwanda idea, but not using a third country, because we own the Ascension Islands and it's halfway down the Pacific Ocean, on the way to, South Atlantic, on the way to the Falkland Islands. And I think that's a great deterrent. And I don't actually think you would need to do many flights or boats to Ascension Islands, and soon everybody that's standing in the north coast of France now would think, well, Britain's now not the best option for us, and they'll do something else. That's, to me, is a great way of doing it, and I genuinely don't think you would need to do much more than that. So that's what I think, and that was one of the reasons that attracted me to the SDP in the first place. And if you want to know more about it, there's the website address for the SDP. Look at their policies. Don't join the SDP just because I'm in it. You have to join a party that you agree with the policies. If you're the same mind as me, there's a fair chance you will, because they're common sense policies. But go to that website, read all the policies, and if it matches your politics, then consider joining. And for £2 a month, you can have a say in what that party does, because they're proper democratic. And I need people to stand as candidates and help get out there and campaign when we try to get a dent into Holyrood. And I'd love to get me and other SDP candidates into Holyrood and start making a difference for there. So, that's what I think we can do about it. And then, Nicola. How many of these new affordable homes been built? Yeah, like most of them, Nicola. And that's just the fact. I mean, what's her name? That gingerbird deputy prime minister, Angela
Rayner.
She made a complete arse of herself in an interview the other day, didn't she, Basil?
Is this the Holmes one? Yeah, with Trevor Phillips. Yeah, she didn't know remit, and I basically Trevor Phillips pointed out with that 5 out. Listen, this is just the government's figure, because the government plan now for how many migrants they want coming in. Legal, not illegal. Obviously, illegal is just random numbers. That's what Craig was looking at. Legal migrants, that's far bigger numbers, right? And the government plan for how many they want to let in, this government have anyway. And Trevor Phillips pointed out with that, even if you build all of the homes you've got scheduled to, and you won't, but even if you do, 5 out of 7 of those homes will go to migrants that are not even in the country yet. That's how many migrants the Labour government want to bring in. And you just sit there and go, what is wrong with you? But the Tories were the same and the SNP were the same too. We've got some real winners in charge of us right now.
Yeah, they're a bit mental. Have you checked your X account, Basil?
Check my X account, what for?
You've got 1,547 people watching this. In your X
Oh,
account.
no. I was going to, sorry, mate, I've just messaged in the group. I was going to message to you saying that there's more people tuned into this through on X, into us, than there is to GB News right now on X. Yeah.
Seriously? When you
There's
get Martin
12
Dobry on here,
There's
could you
1,200
screenshot
watching
that?
it.
Because that,
I have,
could you screenshot that? I want to send him that. That'd be funny. Just tell him you need to get a job with Big Christie TV. Oh, that's hilarious. Right, so we've got
There's
Alan,
1,500
Caddy
watching
SDP.
through my channel and there's 790
Yeah.
watching through yours. Crazy numbers.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Can the SDP fund vans with tellies inside them and I'll drive around Ayrshire playing these videos? I don't have a problem. I actually rented one of these vans before when I was doing the campaigning with the Bad Rangers board 10 years ago, and we drove around Glasgow with photos of the bad board and targets and their faces. It was pretty mental. Here's Kevin now. Now we've got a strange thing happening here. Basil, we have no idea which Kevin. So, drum roll please. Hello, Kevin.
All right, Biggin.
It is the Kev.
It's Kev.
It's that bad Kev. How you doing, mate?
I tell you what, boys, you're doing a good job. I quite enjoy these wee live things you've been doing recently.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And you still up for doing one with me at the start of the week?
I'll do one with you, mate. Aye.
We talk about golf
but
or something.
don't be winding me up though.
It wouldn't be much fun if I didn't.
Aye, you're right.
Anybody that goes into any X spaces that me and Kev are on will realise that we're normally not, I wouldn't say we're swearing at each other at this point, but we're really giving each other a hard time. And Kevin's normally screaming and swearing in very high volume after about 30 seconds when he's in. So how can we help you tonight, Kev? What you got a question? You got a point to make? What's your visit for?
Obviously the videos that you've been doing recently, the Ballymena one, and which was really good, and obviously the Calais one, you done as well, mate. I mean, both of them are really good because we don't get to see these things. Do you know what I mean? We only get to see the nonsense that the mainstream media are trying to kind of fill our heads with. Obviously, that Darren Phillips coming away with that one where he was saying, "Oh, it's women and children are coming here in boats." Which, anybody with a pair of eyes can see that's not really the case. But I mean, it was what Basil had brought up earlier on, or somebody had brought up as well before about trying to get hold of the boy for care for Calais, that's Stephen Smith. I mean, that's a treacherous rodent. I mean, I seen that boy in Sky News getting interviewed, and he was actually complaining that the refugees don't get treated well when they land on the shores, the hotels aren't up to scratch, and the staff bully them. And although it's costing the taxpayer £145 a night to keep one migrant in a hotel, I mean, we're just getting gaslit everywhere where we go. Do you know what I mean? And it's ridiculous what these people are doing now. Obviously, we've been kind of behind the times. England's been getting hammered for years, and now it's starting to hit Scotland, and we've still got these separatists running about want an independent Scotland, yet they're not seeing this demographic that's coming up here that the SNP are kind of pandering to. I mean, they're just traitors as far as I'm concerned. And obviously, you and Basil both know my history with the SNP. I was a member. I was an activist. I did vote for yes in 2014. And I've said it time and time again on X. I'll be forever grateful to the 55% that said no, because the state this country would be in right now, had we managed to get independence, would have been something scary to look at. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look, it's a gorgeous country. I know people still want an independent country. Do you know what I mean? But realistically, under the kind of current governments that we've got, you just would never trust anybody to do the right thing by the people. And obviously Scotland is now starting to wake up. I mean, we've got good guys up here. You mentioned one earlier on, Alec, for AC Spartan. We've got Niall Fraser, as you know, and John Watt does his thing. You've got that young laddie that's doing that protest up in Peterhead on the 9th of August. So people
I spoke to him. We swapped numbers with a chat the other day.
Oh, so you spoke to that laddie?
Aye, so we're going to try and do a podcast with him to. Oh God, there's my cable. I'm terrible, by the way. I need to get a desk and proper organised because my computer's saying that the cable's out again. We've done that one night.
Is that the night when everything went off and I had to hold the show? I had to talk to people.
Got my power back. Aye.
Well,
so that boy's going to want to do a podcast to try and highlight his event and hopefully get some numbers up.
I mean, it'd be good for him because
Peterhead.
Aye, Peterhead, where Peterhead Volvo for sale. But I mean, no, I appreciate that, mate. I mean, obviously, when I seen what he was trying to do, I reached out to yourself, and obviously, being the big gentleman that you are, straight away you said, "Aye, I'll take it on." And if the guys want to speak about it, he's more than welcome. And I think that's an important thing, just to get the boy a wee bit of coverage. He is worried about obviously numbers, but as I've said to him before, and it's something that you've said in the past before too. You've got to remember, you've got to have a starting point somewhere. So if 20 people turn up this time, doesn't mean to say it'll be 20 the next time.
20 people bring a pal the next time.
Well, that's it. And that's the important thing. But I mean, this country's in some mess. I mean, that Humza useless now as well. Wow. How that boy's not getting arrested, I'll never know. The stuff that he's getting away with in this country is ridiculous. Some of the things he's saying. I mean, I could talk all night about that clown. But
did you see what he said to do?
What's that?
Did you see what he said to do? He said, Prestwick. Nuts, man. For those who aren't aware, just for those who aren't aware, what he said was, he said that any US Air Force planes taking off from Prestwick means that Scotland could be embroiled in war crimes. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
I mean, he's absolutely nuts, Basil. I mean, that boy, if there's any further evidence that you need that these people don't get into politics or into Holyrood for the good of the Scottish people, there's your example right there. But the worrying thing is you've got that Anna Sarwar. He's more dangerous than Humza. Humza's just a clown, right? He's brainless. Right? He just opens up his mouth and lets any old crap come out. But Sarwar's clever. Do you know what I mean? And I said in one of the comments earlier on there, because I know obviously you get a lot of Rangers supporters following this channel because of Craig's kind of profile, but it's no longer about this Catholic Protestant thing. That's sort of becoming a thing of the past, because it's like there's a lot of Celtic supporters actually don't like the stuff that's going on in our country either. I mean, myself being one, and others as well. I'm not saying that they're all the same, because there are a demographic within that still will wave their flags at the weekends and things like that. But it's just they don't see what's happening in Southern Ireland. They don't see what's happening in Republic of Ireland. I mean, if anybody's seen the footage for Dublin yesterday, these streets were rammed. This wasn't just a couple of hundred people. This was thousands of people had turned up to protest against us, because our country's gone the same way as what the Republic of Ireland's gone.
I was just going to say on the Humza Yousaf thing, I actually think what he was saying was more nefarious, right? Because obviously recently we had Palestine Action. They broke into RAF Bryce Norton in the middle of the night and they damaged some of the planes. And I think by him naming specifically Prestwick, I think he was like flagging it up to his friends there, because obviously everyone knows he's massively into the Pally stuff. And I genuinely think he was trying to remind people, oh yeah, this is going on there as well, so get yourself over, sort of thing.
By the way, Basil,
if anything happens at Prestwick, he's responsible for
But that's the thing, though, Basil. But what Basil said there, that's not a ridiculous theory. That's actually quite a genuine thing. And by giving away the location where planes or jets or RAF or any kind of military asset could be leaving from, that's basically flagging up where it actually is. And he's got absolutely no right to be doing that.
You got to remember, there's men and women who will be flying those planes, and if they don't know they've been tampered with, or I'm sure the boys and girls do great checks and all the rest of it. But who's to say that things don't go wrong? And you've got to remember that our country is in a bad way right now, right? And I hate what's happened to our military and how it's been left to rot and stuff. But the people in the military, the everyday people who do that work, I have the utmost respect for. Do you know what I mean? And they deserve all of the credit and help they can. And when I see Humza Yousaf say stuff like that, and other politicians, but him today say stuff like that, it just goes to show me what side of the divide he's on, and he's not on ours.
No, you're absolutely right. He's no. But then again, are any of them on our side? I don't see.
I saw you put a comment up earlier saying I'll stand with people of any religion against this tide. And I was thinking, I'm sure you just mean Protestant and Catholic there, not any religion. Yeah.
You know what I meant by that one.
Yeah. Can I just butt in for a wee second and just say hello to somebody that's watching? He just sent me a screenshot of him in his living room watching me. If I should say his name, because I probably get his missus into bother. But I've got a pal whose wife might or may not work in a very friendly hotel chain, and the headmate was coming up the road, getting me a really good deal on my room. So I'll just say mini me, and you'll know who he is. Thanks very much. It was much obliged, and it saved me a couple of pounds.
Oh no!
Oh, he's not away.
Oh no! It's me, Kevin, in the show. Well, I was going to let Craig know, I've put Craig's YouTube channel in the chat. Before you're all thinking, why have you put the YouTube channel in the chat? We're watching it on his YouTube channel. There's people who are watching it through X as well, and they're putting in the X comments saying, how do I watch Craig's videos? So I've just put the link in there if anyone wants to get access to it. But it's ch_talks_2 if you want to catch him on YouTube.
What did I do there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you now.
I don't know what I've done, but anyway, I've just put a link there. The other videos seems to be going well. It's got about 4,000 views in about half an hour, 4,000 odd views. So I've just put the link in the comments there. That's the
thing, Craig. People didn't realise that the trips that you've been doing have been coming out your own pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And
well, to be fair though, the Ballymena one, I did get the money back. I think I spent about 250 quid that day, and I got that back, so that was great. And a wee bit under with the I'm not that bothered, but listen, it'd be nice to get the money back for it, but if it's a wee bit amount, that's the way it is. But the more people watch the videos, the more, and I don't ask for like supers. There's a few people. In fact, I wanted to say thanks. Where did that go? Like Chris there, just put in I think they call super stickers or super thanks. I'm not even sure because I don't for them. When people do that, that money goes in, and I've got 100 odd members of the channel now, and they pay a monthly thing, and I put that money aside, and the camera I'm looking at, the light that's making my baldy heat shine, the laptop I'm using, I use that money for that, but I've not needed to buy any equipment over the last month or so. Oh, I bought a harness and I bought a body cam to go away by and just couldn't figure out how to use it. But I've got a new harness and a body cam so that when I'm going into some serious positions, I can just put that on and hit record. Bought a new tripod for this trip. So the members' money, I kind of use it for that. But if more people join members and I'm not needing equipment, I can do that and I'll just throw that straight into using for trips. So Chris, thanks very much. I really appreciate that, and that'll help cut my losses on this trip, and if it ends up a positive, then I'll just use it for my next trip. So thanks very much for that. So listen, I've really enjoyed this, and thanks Kev, and thanks to sorry I forgot his name that was on earlier, and I want more people to do that. Just come on, tap your questions, give me your point of view. Rather, it's good having the chat and the questions coming in there, but there's a wee community forming now. and it'd be great if, you know, we could, the next time we do one, we get even more people coming up. Just before I wrap this up, guys, I was saying thank you to a pal of mine that helped me with the hotel. Did that go out, or was that when I'd cut
Aye,
myself
mini
off?
me.
Me. Aye. Crackers. Known through not the Rangers football, the kids football. Emily's good lady, have been really supportive of me and a lot of things. So thanks very much.
I'll
And if
drop it
somebody,
to let you carry on with this, but as I say, big man, well done. I mean, I know I've said it to you a few times in our public spaces and in private as well, but you just keep doing what you're doing, Biggie, because you're certainly doing a good job.
thank you.
And what you said there earlier on as well about the SDP, don't join it because it's because of you. Join it because it's what you feel that party's the best fit for you. Because 2026 is important for Scotland. And the more that this platform grows and the community grows, as you say, there'll not be people who'll use X or any social media platform, and maybe the information they're getting for this, they can go and have the conversations with people that don't vote because they're kind of disenfranchised with politics, and they need to just educate them and let them know that it's important that if you can vote, you need to vote next year because we're in a bad way. You know what I mean? So, and again, I'll say thanks to you as well for taking the time to speak to that laddie as well for Peterhead. That's greatly appreciated, mate. And I'll drop it. Well done, boys.
Aye, no problem. Kevin, I'll speak to you maybe tomorrow, and we'll try and get a wee live with you just for the banner.
I just didn't. But nobody's aye.
Look at this. Here, he's getting parked. Check that comment, mate.
What's that?
Is that your mob? One of hoops.
What hoops?
Right, listen, thanks very much, guys. It's been a great night. We've got 3,000 people watching live now. I don't know how many there'll be folk have come in and out. That's mental. I think at Basil's got 100,000 subscribers on Twitter, so a fair amount of them will be off his Twitter feed, which is great. This is a new thing I'm able to do because I'm paying now for this platform that we're watching it on. So, you know, lets me bring guests in. It lets me, the guests that come in, share it to their platform. So thanks very much for being hanging about again, Basil, and obviously a lot of the views are down to you. So really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Anytime, mate. Thank you very much, and just thank you for what you do, mate. It's really informative, and it's important that people see citizen journalists, well, soon to be politicians, but citizen journalists getting out there and showing the truth, because we don't get it on the mainstream media, unfortunately, and that's a real shame. But it allows people like you to get out there and show us what's actually going on. So thank you.
No problem. And Alex was asked how do I join. There's if you're on YouTube, you'll see a join me thing. If you go to my YouTube channel page, you can do it through there. I should have put a link in the description, but
if you type Craig Houston into YouTube, it'll come up and you can get it all from there. He's watching on X, you can see from the little symbol. So there's a few I've been watching the X chat, and there's been a few people saying
Alex can just buy me a coffee once a month.
There's people been saying, how do you get to these videos and stuff? So yeah, just go on YouTube, type in Craig Houston, or if you go on his Twitter page, he's got the link on there, and you can go video them.
What I'll do actually, for those, there'll be folk in the now that have not remove that. I'm going to put the video. I'll put a wee 3-minute video in. As soon as I say leaving the end of the stream, I'll show you a wee clip of get an idea of some of the stuff that I do for those that weren't watching at the start. But, anyway, that's us. Time to go. And Proverbs is right. You'll never get a like off me again for sticking Come On the Hoops on the channel. So thanks very much, Basil. Thanks very much for everybody who's tuned in. Thanks very much for a couple of people who have sent me some super thanks that will go towards the next trip. And as I say in all my videos, the most important thing, as long as you're not the type of person that comes to this country illegally and costs billions of pounds every month, they know you, but everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.